Yes.
Okay, can you see?
I can see it. Does everybody else see it? Diamonds on the soles of our feet.
Yeah.
Yes, I can see.
Okay.
Thank
So
you.
this is the project which has been already like pilot project have been done 3 or 4 times in different places. It started with South Africa, and then it was also done in one of the climate change event and was selected as one of the best project in Berlin. And the idea concept is developed by one of the very good lady. I mean, she excels in this thing, and her aspiration is about connecting citizens with science. So first of all, her idea was on water only, like how we can involve citizens to engage with water quality. But then I take it as a broader idea about connecting citizens to nature, and we can have different aspects like those some people might be interested in say waste, some might be interested in energy, and other might be interested in tree planting or whatsoever their interest could be. But then how to connect citizens with that activity and explain the science behind it, and then uh, also connecting those with climate change. So here we propose that we start this project. We have already advertised or announced this project, and we have got already 50 different people, individuals interested, and we have rolled out a form for them to just show their interest first. Um, but we plan to have this big event starting from the Water Day, which is March 2022, to Earth Day, April 2022. And it can be online, it can be face to face, it can be hybrid, and it can be in different ways. Like, for example, those who are interested in doing some practical experience of going to some, say, water body or some tree planting or, say, waste facility, they can do it in that way. But if others are interested just on online display of art or some other thing like singing or dancing or whatever they would like, they can do it in their own way. So it is about flexibility, but it can be a powerful celebration of science, community, and environmental stewardship. And here is, and especially it is about learning with the heartbeat, and then register your interest. So if you click on these, you get a form where it asks very nominal questions about what role would you take, how would you, how many people you would bring, and whatever, or what country and area, and so on. So it is, we are inviting people to be part of our worldwide program, celebrated online, hybrid, or in person, and share your stories from any corner of the globe on various social media, print media, TV channel, and so on. And they can make this all connection in their local areas. They can bring their government people, schools, universities, industries, and TV media, and whatever. So and they can take these uh, project as one excuse to build this local network. And that is how we are telling. You can see all these. We have made all these necessary things for them. And I won't take much time, but this is the idea we want to do. And this is the lady who first did that project, Professor Jacqueline Goldin. She's from South Africa, but she's also part-time working in Netherlands. And we have already have few organization, but many other, like as I said, 30 or 40 people have already shown interest. So this is what we would like to do. I will stop here. Thank you very much for listening to me.
That is wonderful. And what is so beautiful about it is that it's a really open project which can be, can fit together with similar projects around the world. And we can do it online. So that means that those that are here can actually carry it out. Taking this now and feeling this unity, is there somebody who would like to build with the project that they have seen in their meditation, build on this idea? And we should probably not take too much time each so that we can get as many people exploring the projects they want to put forward as possible today, and that we can start to make headway in actually seeing how we would implement it. Let's see, I do see a hand here from Lloyd and from Mona. I'm not sure who was there first. Mona, would you like to start?
Yes, Lisinka, I would like to start. I just have my son waiting for me to teach him, so I'll just go quickly. I am talking, talk about a home. I'm a home and family leadership. I focus on that. The last 10 years, I've been researching over there and talking about that only because I believe the situation of home needs to be actually made congenial so that we can make happier home, because our policies are absolutely against it. And I believe the work that we do in a home, irrespective of gender, it needs to be accepted as work first, because we do not accept it. It's called unproductive, which means waste of time. It has to come in the productive category. And that is why the multiple dimensions that work in a home needs to be understood, because everything is related to that. When we talk about food industry, it backtracks to a home, because first the food was eaten here only in a home and it was free. It starts as free, then it converts to paid work. But we do not accept free work because it is free, because our benchmark is paid work, and it will never get accepted because that means a home does not exist. Nobody would agree to do something which lacks respect. And there has to be respect for the work we do in a home. And that is what I have been standing up for very long. And I believe that it needs to be accepted. And that is the foundation has to be strong, because we have built high towers over it, but the foundation just does not exist. And unless and until we get...
Mona, can you relate that to what Renuka, Dr. Tagore, was just saying, so that we can connect it to what has been said?
Absolutely.
You can see.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, I would have connected that, because water conservation is a very important aspect, and climate change is a very important aspect we talk about, because climate is very related to the focus on economic activity. When we talk about economic activity, that is paid work. And our focus is not on holistic living. We just talk about businesses and jobs. And if you look around, we are just focused on economics. When we talk about holistic living, it starts from home. Unless and until we take unpaid or free work, I don't have the right to bring up my own child. In fact, anybody does not have, because that would not be accepted as work. We have to have the right to do it's human right. See how funny this gets. I do not have the right to bring up my own child. But if I do the same thing for my neighbor for money, it gets to be work. How
Mona,
can work?
Could you relate that? Because I
Yeah,
think
because see, it's just about the focus on, the focus is on money, and because of that, we are just talking about businesses and job, and business and jobs takes up resources, because building up businesses and jobs takes up resources from nature, and that is what is leading to depletion of resources. That is what I believe is leading to what is called climate change, because we are taking resources from the nature to build our businesses and jobs, and that is causing water scarcity, because water is also a resource which we get from nature.
good.
So I think it's
How can we create a project which really makes people feel the need to love and appreciate the work that's done in the home, and at the same time stewards some specific resource? And I think Nuka was mentioning sort of climate change and water. How could you relate those two together in one project with the thing on your home, so that we can create a unity?
Yeah. I think to get this, we just need a little change in our policies, and because internationally or nationally and country-wise, policy needs to change, as well as the people need to realize that what we do in a home is worthwhile, and there needs to be a perspective change, and for that to happen. And how is because if we see, when I was looking at the link Bill shared, which talks about resource based economy, and that is RBE, and that is very much talking about not having the monetary system that we have right now, and it is resource based. It is the resources we need to use, not money. So it's not focused on money. So maybe we need more thinking on this, and maybe I can get back to you with little more thinking and how everything is related to each other.
Sorry, Mona and Linsiska, to interrupt in between without my chance. But what I see, within our project, we have also mentioned that any sort of contribution. So for example, if you want to do 1 hour or 10-hour talk about your family and the policies, that also can be included as this event, because you can then bring 4 or 5 experts, or whatever the way you want to discuss, you can present it in that way. So it would be a type of event that connects you to why you should think that citizens should also consider family as one of the workplace. And the way you want to discuss, you can do the policy discussion, policy analysis, and you can put a paper forward, or whatever the way you want to publish. The thing is that we want your concept, citizens, and the climate change, and all to draw in one line. Thank you.
What we're getting now is a number of different projects that can be brought up and exchanged or put forward and exchanged in a certain, probably common marketplace, which we would finance. Does that fit?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Good. Okay. Lloyd, you've had your hand up for a while.
Thank you very much, Lisinka. So, of course, what we have been doing here in UnityNet is discussing a few projects, but I see the alignment with what Dr. Thakur is proposing with regard to the dates that she has selected. The April 22nd, May 22nd, I believe it is, or is it March and April? But we would like to engage with the members who have taken an interest in her projects in being able to provide guidelines, I guess, for the members who are participating in what she's doing to plant the Tree of Peace and Reconciliation, the Youth Peace Gardens, the Youth Peace Forests, and to establish the connections and the networks throughout these communities. So providing those who are involved in her projects the opportunity to plant those seeds of peace, as we might call them. And of course, on our side as well, once these gardens and forests have been planted, we are moving ahead to develop what we call the story pods. And the Youth Peace Gardens are really central to that, along with the forests. So there's another project that we are hoping to connect with that, and that is our climate smart kitchens. So that conversation is beginning now. We're hoping to get some pilot projects underway here in Canada, but we're of course wanting to twin each of what we do with other communities around the world, so that through the Youth Peace Gardens and Forest Networks, what we call the youth along the Youth Peace routes, we'll have multiple projects in different contexts, in different geographies, and different cultural contexts. So that is something that I'm hoping to continue with Dr. Thakor, and then we can ideally as well connect these communities up through these this type of infrastructure.
So what I see is that there is therefore, thank you, Lloyd, there are different projects. There are ideas here which are germinating, and it's not so much even things that have to be paid for. It might even be just an exchange of information for projects, which the financing would actually be an exchange of information. Let's see how this works out. Stanislaus, you were the next one with your hand up, and then we have Lisa Anis. Stanislaus, would you like to add to this? See how we've got different types. We've got the home economy. We've got sort of the possible water projects. We've got the Lloyd's projects, and they're not necessarily things that are asking for money or a financing mechanism as much as an exchange of information. What is your thought, Stanislaus?
Yes, thank you very much, Doctor. I'm Stanislaus Chabala Mwansa from Ndola, the city of Ndola, Zambia, in the Southern Africa region. So yes, Stanislaus is running an NGO, a local NGO, God from Heart to My Community Grace Foundation. It's a local NGO, and we are basically focused into education and also climate change, also social economic development. So basically at this time around, we are more into education, because we have been visiting the heart to reach villages or communities in the city of Ndola, outside Ndola, and many other districts within Zambia. So we came to discover that most schools, especially community schools, have less or inadequate learning facilities. They do not have, most of them, they do not have classrooms for learners to learn effectively, and also they do not have water is a problem. And other schools, they do not have wall fenced. They don't have wall fence facilities for security of their children. because as you may be aware, there is a lot of child violation of human rights, especially when it comes to the children who are learning. So yes, these are the projects that we came to discover and see that yes, these projects, they need funding. However, as an organization locally, we have done one which we sourced from local investors, and now we are looking forward to put boundary wall fence to that facility so that we prevent stealing the installations and the properties, to protect from vandalism and also stealing of some of the installations. And not only that, for the security of children, but also there is 2 or 3 community schools which we visited. Children are learning in a very dilapidated wooden makeshift shelters that they are running. So they are running under such conditions. So we thought this will take it up from here, and we'll ask other institutions or organizations to come to their head so that we source funding from there and see how best they can be of help. So I think that is 1 or maybe 2 projects that we have seen currently. And all these facilities, they do not have water facilities. They do not have water facilities. As you may be aware, currently in Zambia, I think most of you have heard that there is this electricity power outage countrywide. Currently, Zambia now, the Zambian residents or populations are only using power for nearly 3 hours in 24 hours. Only 3 hours, sometimes 2.5 hours. The rest of the hours, they are in darkness. So as I am talking with you, I'm speaking with you, my phone remains only with 2%, and the phone will be shut down just now. So I thought, let me make this presentation, and so that I may be exempted from to leave the meeting, because I'm actually handicapped with the power. So I'm in the dark. If I put on my video, you never see anything, but you only see somewhere behind me there is some vehicles. But if I sit like that, you won't see anything. So I think that I thought I should also make mention of this. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Stanislaus. And I hope you're able to listen in. Otherwise, you might catch up through Lloyd, or we'll probably set up sort of a document where we can sort of put out what has been decided, and then people can add into it when they do have power. Thank you so much for sharing, and good luck.
Thank you so
So, yes. So,
Sorry, at some point, Lysinka, can you let me speak? Because my hand doesn't raise, but I had my hand up after Lisa Anise, but okay.
okay, so would you like to speak, Lisa Anise, and then Joan? And Dossi, I see you have your hand up as well.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, thank you.
Thank
Please, I can speak?
you. Yes, wait a minute, this is Lisa Anise, right?
Yes, please.
Yes.
I have to start teaching or preparing my classroom in the next 10 minutes. So I am the Global Outreach Director for UnityNet International, among other titles that I employ. And I've been working at this for about 2 years now. At the moment, I'm working about 50 hours a week. And I'm also employing 2 to 3 translators that I'm paying out of pocket. And of course, that's the big issue because I only teach 10 hours a week to pay my bills. So what we're looking at actually is funding the beginning of a central administrative group that can assist us in dealing with the sheer influx of groups that we're dealing with right now. At 50 hours a week, I can't hope to reach all these people that have connected with me from the ground. And that number is over 1,700. So I would like to get some kind of relief on some end because as someone who works with a UN agency, I am now getting requests to make appearances and make speeches, which are going to be essential to this program and its advancement. So any little boost that we can get about this, if you want more information, feel free to contact me. I'm happy to hand you a copy of my schedule so you can see what it's been for quite some time.
Thank you.
Yeah, now, you already know, Lysinka, I have no doubt that you've been through this process with pilot section projects.
Very familiar. Thank you.
Yes, we're at that critical mass point, and I need a little bit of relief, or at least knowing that that next step of my starting to be able to train others to do segments of what it is that we've developed over the last 2 years can actually occur.
So you'd really, you'd like to sort of find a way to train people to take over part of your tasks.
Yes, and those people really should be paid for that work. We're also developing a translators pool. And yes, those people get paid for their efforts as well. Should they actually be employed, which I do see occurring and needing to be brought in a little more often with others that are within UnityNet International and the Global Partnership for Regenerative Development. I started working on that just with an eye ahead. And as that grows, I want to be able to set up a standard where there's a place where people can go, hey, I've got a day where I've got a meeting with this group and the predominant language is X. Can anybody help me with that? So
Lisa Marie,
seeing to that future,
yes,
to make it easier and smoother. And that's what central administration will assist us in doing. One person to act as key, like myself, along with those who take in data and those who put out data, neither of which should be mixed.
So it's sort of funding a training program to ease your task. Joan, you would like to speak, and then Dosse, you've had your hand up for a while. Joan, would you like?
Let Dosse go.
You want Dosse to go? Dosse, are you ready to speak?
Okay, thank you very much. You see, as one of those who innovated the SDGs with the United Nations, I'm very engaged to implement this project with youth toward the SIFA plan. So I think that in our community, we have to help youth in entrepreneurship and fight for poverty eradication. We have many challenges as the world is at the crossroads. Togo here, we are also at the crossroads. So we have many challenges. Poverty is the first, hunger is the second, health and others. So we are engaged to work closely with youth to save the next generation. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Darcy. So this is actually sort of going to the SIFA plan to eliminate poverty, hunger, and produce health. So what we have is we have a number of different projects that people are doing, which you would like to fund. These are sort of intellectual or these are action projects. They're not dealing with any sort of resources. So we're getting to the immaterial aspect of the types of projects that we have. Joan, would you like to build on what has been said so far?
I was scared you were going to ask that. I should have gone before Dulce.
No, just a little bit.
Sorry. Sorry, Dr. Renuka, I missed the first 15 minutes because I was on another call. I'm just got appointed for the Rotarian Foundation chair. And I was like, oh my God. So anyway, so Bill, we got to talk.
That calls for celebration, Joan.
Yes.
And that calls
not in
for
my book.
more. That
More
calls for
work.
partnership as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, I just thought I'd mention that. So I'm sorry I missed your so if I don't represent it well, please correct me. I'm good at being corrected. I work with a lot of engineers, so I got used to that. So anyway, so I run something called the Foundation for Building Sustainable Communities, and we've been around since 2003. And our mandate is to actually preserve and repair the environment, as well as to ameliorate the living conditions of the underprivileged. So we got 2 mandates, which is unheard of, at least in Canada anyway. So we had a number of projects, but I'm not going to go through all of them. One of them was something that we used to call Earth Week, where we spent the week teaching. And so this is since 2003 until 2019. Okay, we did it on a yearly basis. So we would have events around and teach people about Earth Day, including families, community, politicians, etc. So we've transformed that into something called what we're going to be calling Earth Days with an S, which is a daily thing where people can learn how to be green and live sustainably. So promoting it on a daily basis. So that's our new campaign. But the one that I want to talk to you about is what we call our climate smart agriculture programs. And there are a number of them. One is targeted at homeowners. I, by the way, had my own home office because I was a young mother, and that's how I ended up being a business owner. And sort of addressing being at home and also having supplementary income as well. So I know that whole game when people laughed at you for not having going to an office, and when they think of you as being smart and all this kind of stuff, and it's like, you're at home, you know, you're a leader in the community. I've been through all of it. So I'm very much about family, first of all, and the environment. So one of the things that we've done, I've always grown my own food, make my own food, cook my own food, preserve, all that kind of stuff. So when my daughter was older, we got 10 acres as a gift to do a community garden, which we did a lot of different types of gardens. But we came up at the end with the Victory Garden, which is a historical garden. And the reason we adopted it was because of what it contained, which was civic engagement, growing your own food, cooking your own food, canning and preserving. So lots of environmental aspects to that, health, and also it was during the war, so it was targeted at food security. They didn't call it that then. So I'm speaking in today's language. So we adopted it, but we added the climate smart component to it, which is the adaptation to address the environment as well as smart technology, because I'm also the VP of the Electrical Engineering Institute of North America. So I can bring all kinds of engineers into programs, and also a focus on the SDGs. We want to craft that into a sort of not just promoting health and poverty and all of that, but to make it also a home-based business where women can learn not just the agricultural side of it, but about the technologies that are available and also a global market. So we've also created something called the Victory Market Garden to be launched in 2025. So that's our project. So I don't know if that synopsized everything that you said, but
Yeah,
since I didn't
exactly,
hear.
exactly. Sorry, just to take a minute, okay, Linsinka, just to take a minute. Yeah. So what we are trying to do, just to popularize the idea of these connections. And then we can carry on for a year or two, whatever, then the projects come up. But first to, synthesize that whole environment that, and just now Bill Graham has mentioned that many projects are there. I actually agree with you, but the impact is zero. But again, I would say that impact is not zero, because today what we are doing here, being aware of this and talking about this, and I have been in meetings where like plenty of people know about this, and therefore the impact is not zero, of course, but yes, it has not been able to decrease the inequality that we want to see. And certainly the awareness has grown, but people are struggling where to go, how to make it happen. And that is where we mediators must be working on. I definitely believe there is a huge gap between the government's high-level dialogues and their ambitions and the grassroots people talks and actions. I definitely feel, and I am always, I'm there to bridge that gap. And I don't want to go in many other programs of GSFN, but I think we all are having this same understanding that we need to work with the grassroots level and emphasize. I will stop here. Thank you.
What I'm seeing now is that we have a whole lot of initiatives and programs which are basically promoting sustainable development and a better life for all. Many of them are outwardly directed. I'm sure we've got a lot inwardly directed. The objective that we set out with today was to find a means of financing a pilot project which would combine the lot. I see that, Bill, you have your hand up, but I'd like to go to Rachel first so that we can collect her idea. And then, Bill, I've got a sense you're going to be bringing things together. I did read your notes when we, which you put in the WhatsApp. So, Rachel, would you like to share what it is you want to do? So what we're dealing with now is to connect your project with the previous projects, and what we're aiming for is to find a way of financing, financing probably this network of projects that is coming up. And this is going to be the task that each one of you is going to have to help to find to solve. Rachel, would you like to talk?
Okay, thank you, Lisinka. I'm Rachel from Kenya, from Yaku community, from an organization known as Indigenous Young Moms, whereby we deal with sustainable development projects for young women and also the entire community. That's the Yaku community, since we are the indigenous marginalized community in the area. So the project we do mainly is agricultural projects. We do agroecology project, whereby we came and identified that we have an organic white honey, which is unique, which we help our women and also the community at large to market these honey to sustain them to cater for their own bills. And also we do other projects which are sustainable to them, like we do agriculture, whereby we do the African vegetable farming, whereby we preserve our seeds, and also we sow them during the rainy seasons in our area. So after that, we also sell to the community there to eradicate the malnutrition. That's what we do in the project. Yeah, Lisinka, thank you.
That's wonderful. So are you looking to fund this somehow through all of the projects that we're hearing right now?
Yeah.
Okay, well, this
So
is quite a chance because everybody's doing wonderful work and is producing wonderful education and resources that we can all benefit from. And so we'll see where we go with that. Bill,
Yes. I just want to, because it's very interesting hearing about this, and I'm very, very impressed by the crowd we have joining us here today. But I'm a member of Rotary in a club that deals with looking at the problems worldwide and asking what can we do to achieve the SDGs, for example, or make progress. And one of the things that's been very discouraging is to see all the work that's being done by so many people around the world and with so little impact. Now, I have to qualify that. We help people. There has been tens and tens of millions of people that have been helped by various projects of NGOs around the world. The only problem is helping people is not necessarily the same as helping the world. Unfortunately, I have to say that. Because we have issues like climate change, issues like artificial intelligence, and things that are coming at us that are not solvable within communities that are worldwide in nature. And what these are doing is giving us a timeline where we have to make sure that we achieve certain progress before we pass certain tipping points. Otherwise, it's a moot issue. We're all going to be dead. Okay, if the world climate becomes unsuitable to sustain life, I guess it's all over. If artificial intelligence decides the way to solve climate change is get rid of humans that are causing most of the climate change problems, that's no good. So we have to be aware. We have to be aware that we have time limits. So when we look at our projects, and I'm not saying don't do anything, give up. I'm saying here, no, we have to make sure that our projects are such that they at least aim to achieve the results that are needed to avoid the tipping points. If you are going and you're on a ship and the ship is sinking at 20,000 gallons an hour, don't settle for something that bails water out at 10,000 gallons an hour. You have to find a way that is going to bail at 20,000 gallons an hour or more. So it's the same with the projects that we're talking about here. Please set a time limit. Please make sure that your projects are going to contribute to keeping us all alive, keeping us all capable of solving the other problems. So that's all. When I attend the UN, I'm very frustrated when I hear everybody get up and talk about the projects they're doing. And a lot of people are very frustrated when I'm in the meeting because I ask most NGOs, great, when are you going to be finished? When are you going to be solving the last 10% of the problems that your NGO or your initiative is aimed at? When are you basically going to put yourself out of business? Because that's what it's all about. We saw at the high-level political forums this past summer, the UN reported on the status on the achievement of the SDGs, and we see that fully 30%, and those 30% include almost all the important SDGs, have made zero progress since 2015 or have actually slid back and lost. We are worse off than we were at the time they were defined. And 50% are nowhere near being on track to being achieved by 2030. Only 17% of the 169 SDG targets are on track. So, and they're not the important one. They're the least important ones by and large. So all I'm asking here is when we're looking at these projects, and I know you're all excited about your projects, let's make sure that what we are prioritizing are really the most important things to keep us going, to let us continue, and make sure that you're going to make a net difference. You might save 1 million lives, but when we look at the World Bank statistics, those 1 million lives probably don't really account for much. So you've got to really go and look at your goals. Set the goals based on what's needed and not what you think you can do. Because if we don't achieve what's needed, we fail. So that's the key thing. And I Lysinka has been working so hard here for so many years on ideas on how we can have a major impact in the world. And the artificial intelligence, and many of you may not be aware, you've only got about 2 years left before artificial intelligence starts eliminating all jobs and robotics. I don't care if you're a weed picker or you're doing agriculture. It doesn't make any difference. If you're a teacher, it doesn't make any difference. They are better at everything, including empathy, emotional intelligence, all the things that we've been told that they're not better at, they're going to be better at. So we need to figure out here, what is our society? How's our society going to work? How's our economy going to work in a stage where we're in a post-labor economy where human labor no longer has value? And so please think about that. Look here at Koistra's plan. I mean, that's 40 years ago. But when we look here at some of the things he was talking about and thinking about, you could say, hey, somehow he managed to look into the future and see some of the issues that we're facing. And I posted an example from another guy, Jack Fresco or something like that, that had similar thoughts back then. So my only appeal here is we got to come together. We need this unity that Lysinka keeps talking about, and so many of you keep talking about. We need that unity, but we have to start being realistic and facing the problems that we are facing, so that we come together and be one society. When we start seeing that only 3% of the population in the world own everything, and the rest own nothing and have no labor, no job, no means of income, how are we going to work? I'll stop here and get off this.
I'd like to ask you to now, if you could, together with me and everybody else, and I see that Alan has a hand up. Alan has a hand up. How do we move from here? Because what we have are many really inspiring projects, and yet, as you say, they're not going to make the structural changes that are needed unless we can create a form of financing or of empowering one another that will be able to spread out to embrace all projects like this and others which meet people's needs. So this is going to have to happen. So what we need to do is to get to a structural change in which these projects, all of them, can help one another and can build on what the other has.
Even before that, here we have so many brains here in this group and in other groups around the world, and I really was impressed by the early talking by Dr. Renuka. We need to get people to be aware of the major things that are happening in our world at the speed at which climate change is changing the world, the speed at which artificial intelligence is changing the world. There's no longer a day that goes by without a major advance in the area of artificial intelligence. We're seeing here now 50 years, estimated 50 years of development taking less than 1 year. So we have to be aware of that. And then we come together and start talking to one another and say, what do we do about it? And when we apply our brains to saying, here's the real issues that are out there, including the economic issues and so forth, then we'll come up with answers. Our problem is we don't aim high enough. And there was a young 14-year-old boy that we had in a group one time, and he pointed out that Michelangelo apparently said the problem for most people is not that they aim too high and fail, but that they aim too low and succeed. And then he said here, should we fail in our attempts to better the world, let it not be because we didn't aim high enough. So I believe here, if we just come together and say, what's the major problems? Stop looking at what we can do without paying attention. Is that good enough? And look at what's needed. we'll find the answers using maybe things like AI to help us. But if we don't aim high enough at the real problems, then we failed before we begun. And I think this is what impresses me, and looking at Koistra, is he looked at the world and he looked at the major problems that we're facing in the world, and he says, how do we solve these? What can we do? And I think that's where, if we start there, the Commons Cluster, going beyond SIFA, the Commons Cluster is really looking at what we as a commons group, as a society, a global society, what's the issues and what can we do about them? And we have to be very, very careful not to settle for things that we don't believe can achieve what's needed. Lysinka, I don't know if that
I think
far enough.
this is actually what's needed, because we do have some amazing projects here. We've got some amazing brains. We've got some very big hearts. And yet the question is that we have to make a shift in the world. So what we undertake might be something in small, but it has to be able to be upscaled so that it can be making a major shift. Bill, I want to go back again to you, although we have Alain, Felix, and Dr. Renuka with their hands up, because I feel that we need to make that next step you're talking about before we share more individual projects, so that we can begin to create bigger process.
Maybe the others want to talk to that same point, so I'd like to hear what others might have to say about that.
Is there one of the three we have here, Alain and Dr. Renuka? Does one of you want to? Is that Alan speaking? Who's speaking? Who would like to speak to the point that Bill made?
Yes, I want to speak to the point of what Bill made, and exactly what I think, like my initiative to start BSFN worldwide was to make a structural change. One thing is clear, that when we have, and this project I proposed only out of a fancy, because it was asked to propose a project. But my basic idea is to change the structure for financing. And what is that? That if we do not make any structural change in local financing, because any project, when it is financed from outside, or when it is for a local project like a local country, when it is financed from the outside of that country, all the profit goes to, and reputation, even the credit goes to that foreign body. It does not come and does not impact directly to the people on ground. They get that finance for a while, and they benefit for a while, but as soon as the finance finishes, everything goes away, and they are actually in tremendous pressure again to get that another finance. And so we need to stop that. And for these projects, what we are saying that, and I don't want to just talk about my project. For any project, what it should happen, that project should be sourced from the local people. And don't say that there is no money in local. Even if you think of Nigeria or Kenya or any other country, there are people who have money within that local vicinity to give money, but they are not giving money. That is the problem. The government has the regulation, but they are not enforcing. That's the problem. So we want to change how these constellation at local level should be strong enough to support each other. And then only we can decrease the inequality within that place. I'll stop here.
Lysinka, if I could respond to what Dr. Renuka was just saying. One of the things when we looked at the world and tried to study why are we not making progress, one of the major things we found is the focus on money. with the amounts of money that have been spent on projects all around the world is humongous relative to what we see coming back. It's, in the end of the day, it's about people. It's about building capacity of people everywhere in the world. It's about giving every child, no matter where that child is born in the world, an opportunity equal to a child who's born into an elite neighborhood in London or Boston. How do we do that? And we see that the efforts of putting in money has not made a difference. Rotary built in Uganda, I think, about 25 schools. This was told to me by the chair of the Basic Education and Literacy Special Action Group at the Rotary. And within a couple of years, when they went back, they were so disappointed because they found out of the 25 schools they had built, only one was still being used as a school. The rest were being used as warehouses or whatever. And we see movements like that former executive of Microsoft that founded the Room to Read Foundation, or the person from Bain Capital that founded Pencils for Progress. They realized that unless the local population invests and are fighting for whatever it is, it's just somebody else did something there, and they don't have any skin in the game, if you would. So their programs are all about helping to build schools or build libraries, but they require that all the work to do that is being done locally. And as a result here, they provide the guidance. So this is the opportunity for us. We need economies of scale. Too many local communities, 600,000 children a year die from the consequences of open defecation around the world. Yet not every community has the skills and the knowledge and experience to be able to provide adequate sanitation. But this is so easy to have central groups go up and say, you know, there's 25 different variations of soil types and quantities, numbers of people, and all the different variations that are needed locally. And we can provide plans for these. We can create supply chains. So we need to get to the point where we centrally organize most of the issues that are needed in the world, the solutions that are needed in the world. But we have to realize the implementation always has to be locally. So the whole centralized functions in the world, the UN included, they have to realize that we need to leverage centrally, leverage economies of scale. But the whole purpose of the UN and all these is to maximize the success of the people on the ground. We need to copy the McDonald's food chain, because their central functions know their only purpose for existing is to maximize the success of every individual McDonald's store. The hamburgers don't get eaten in Chicago. So
what we're talking about, Bill, so what we're talking about is actually what we do have here, and a number of really amazingly interesting and important projects that are going on, which are going on locally. But we do need to find a way in which we can actually bring about a global transition. Mm-hmm. And there was a point of which one was talking about sourcing it and paying for it locally. In fact, we are at this point, have been talking about a global program, because we are all local now. We're all, at least 2/3 the world is really connected. So, but paying for it and allowing the projects that are strengthening each other to be enforcing one another in the same also geographic area where they are as much as possible. But we do need to make that global change. So can we talk, when we talk about the projects we're bringing up, Felix and Dose, about ways in which we can make a global change, working with all the local brilliant projects that we have, but how can we bring about a global shift, a global economy, or a global economy which can exist once AI takes over completely. And you know, and way before climate change, etc., take over completely. So what can we do to bring about this global shift, working with all the wonderful projects that we've been discussing at the ground level?
Is it the projects or the people? The people that we've got here in those brains, or is it the projects?
Yes, it's the people that need to benefit from the wonderful
No, the
project.
people who have the ideas, the people who are willing to go and bring about the change, that's the people we got to bring together. The people who are benefiting are going to benefit, but they're only going to benefit if we come up with solutions that are going to benefit them.
So what you're saying, Bill, is that what we need in this group is to find out how can we bring about the global shift using all the brain power we have here. And that shift must then be to benefit all people, okay? All right, Felix, can you talk to that? And Felix, I would then go to, let's see, after Felix, I think I'll go to Dotta. You have already spoken. You just have your hand up another time. And then there's a third person who also wants to speak, who I don't think they'll put your hand down. Okay, Felix, lovely to talk to you. Felix, would you like to?
Okay, thank you so much.
Yes, good, lovely to
Thank
hear.
you so much, the moderators. Thank you so much, the moderator and all the people around here. It's so amazing that we got here to gather all our minds so that we can solve these challenges that people in. My name is Felix Kisembo, and I'm an agriculture student at Mbara University of Science and Technology in Uganda. And my ideas are going towards how our knowledge and brains reach the ground people in the communities. You know, these people still face a challenge that the knowledge we give them is not practical. The knowledge we do give these people in the communities is not practical. In which way? For example, you will send some people in the community and they will tell people the best ways of solving maybe the problem of drought or the problem of maybe infertile soils, so that people can get their agricultural products, sell, get their livelihoods get better. People do these things by just giving knowledge and not showing them practically what they are supposed to do. And as people who have the brains and the knowledge of helping these people, our aims should be doing practical guidance to these farmers. For example, I will take an example of our project here. It is a university because I'm still a student. We do go into the community, the student, where we help out farmers. If they have really spaced their gaps, their fields, they have planted their fields without spacing, they do not get yields because not that they don't have the knowledge, but then they lack skills. But what you equip, if you equip the person with the skills and tell them this is how we do it, for the maize you cover this, for the banana you cover this, and this, for the trees you have to space them this way so that you can get enough yields. This would help and transform their lives practically, not ideally, not having their ideas in mind and say maybe this is how they do it, not like conforming to the standards of their cultures. You know, most people in Africa still depend on our culture. That's why we fail to transform agriculture. We fail to implement the SDGs on ground. People know them. People know that when you plant trees, you will change. People know about the sustainable cities. They know about partnership for goals. They know about the zero hunger. They know. But then they do not have the ideas of solving these things. So as a project, as we people who are in these projects in the communities, let's get our hands involved. For example, if I go to the community, I will tell a farmer who has only banana plantations, who has tomatoes, I will tell this is how they do it. And when your tomatoes are suffering from this disease, you have to spray it with this. There are specific pesticides. You apply this kind of fertilizer, and those people appreciate later because you've given them practical knowledge, not just building capacity. Yes, you tell a person this is how you change your life. You've not
I'm going to, Felix, thank you. I'm really happy that you've again shared. We once more have a project in which sort of the brain and the heart power of people is evident. How do you see that this can bring about a global shift? Because all of us here are working locally, but we need to bring about a global shift. How do we do that? Does that come to mind at all, Felix? How does this provision of knowledge, how do we bring about a global shift? Perhaps I should take a step back. In the project that we've been looking at so far, which is called the SIFA plan, we have a global marketplace in which people exchange goods and services. Initially, those things to help those that are physically, materially poor to come above the poverty line, but more and more to help people to develop their creativity, to create their knowledge and their know-how globally, to be able to develop their creativity and their happiness and their well-being as human beings through the exchange of immaterial goods and services. So the type of thing that you're marketing. But how do we get to this point with all of the wonderful projects we have now to actually use those projects, including yours, Felix, to bring about a global shift? What will be required? If anything comes to mind, great. Otherwise, Dossi, I'll give you the word with that same question, and then Alain.
Okay.
Yes,
I
hello.
think that, please, I think that at local level, we already gather some younger boys and girls, and we are explaining to them what is his SIFA plan and what is the goal. This project will be for them and for the world. So they are very, very happy to get involved in the project. And if the project is implemented with capacity building, we have to done to them, I think that they can successfully implement the project, and after we can go step by step to the height level. We can approach government, local government, and central government to identify products for the SIFA plan global market. So this project can be implemented easily if we do the project, the pilot project well here in Togo. Yes, thank you.
Thank you, Dossi. I must say your English is, yes, that's wonderful, Dossi. But now how do we get from the local level? So we have a local project in which we are exchanging goods and services, as it were, which is the SIFA idea. And then the local government finds it a good idea, and then we communicate it to the national government, and then from there to the UN. Is that your idea? Dossi, did you hear me? I'm sorry. Am I on? Yes. Dossi?
Yes. Yes.
So your idea is to have a local project, and
yes,
then
local.
get it accepted at the local government, and then the national government, and then the global level.
Yes. Yes. But our objective is to reduce poverty, the SDG 1. And we have to create entrepreneurship to help young carry their destiny and carry up their destiny. So we can generalize this after the small step of success, and we go to the local government to embrace them in the project. We embrace them in the project because the local product to propose to the large market must be agreed by all of us at the local level.
Okay, that's wonderful, Darcy. Let's go to Alain. And Alain, what would you like to contribute? We're busy at this point moving to see how projects can make a global shift. How would you suggest we go about that?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, thank you,
Yes,
Darcy.
hello.
Yes.
Good, yeah, good evening. I'm called Alain. I'm called from Uganda. Right now, I'm in a refugee camp, or what we call I'm in a refugee settlement in Nakivale. Right, that's where I'm right now. I'm also I'm a Rotarian of global for refugees and forced migrants. Yes, I'm a membership chairperson. Yeah, so the thing that I want to talk about is, first of all, to identify those those who are they're in need of these activities. Identify, first of all, because normally as a Rotarian and refugees, we need to know who are the members who are beneficiary of these activities. Because otherwise, that if we can be doing this activity, but we don't know the beneficiary of this activity, who are the members that are in need of these activities, then it will be in mess. So we need to see those who really in need. So we are Rotarian, but also as well we are refugees living in the settlement. So those are the activities that I was thinking that we can as well move by doing it. It is very, very, very important to, first of all, identify the needy, the vulnerable refugees, those who are in a place where it is, let me say, where the government and the UNICEF, they cannot reach, but we as the Rotarians can reach and approach these Rotarians, try to help them on what they need. That can be basically really very, very important. That's what I'm trying to see.
Thank you very much. So what you're saying is, we were looking at the global shift, but what you're saying, it's incredibly important that those that are really in dire need to be helped. Thank you so much. Felix, I'll go back to you, and then Renuka. Felix, we're talking again about the global shift. Do you want to address that?
Okay, thank you so much.
Okay. Please, Phillips, go on.
Talking about the global shift.
Thank you so much.
These
The
wonderful
global shift
projects to create this as a global, to make a global shift.
Okay, thank you so much. My idea about developing this globally, it always starts from the ground, how people feel, like what people do on the ground. For example, it cannot roam like globally when the people in some countries or in our nations, when they are not well off. So it starts with the knowledge that we equip these people, that these people will now transform agriculture, or they will transform in what they do. For example, the technologies that we do, tell these people through capacity building, maybe trainings, then these people will get more incomes. The government will also making the government partnerships.
I'm going to interrupt
so
you for a moment, just a minute, Felix. Yes. So actually what you are saying, and just to summarize that, we have to help the needy. And I think we all agree with that. Now, I want to now take a step back and say what we have been working on has been a plan in which we have a marketplace which can help the needy. But at the same time, the marketplace brings about a shift in consciousness towards sustainability and for the need for all people to develop. And so I'd like to say that I want to bring that back on. just a minute, Bill. I know you're urgently wanting to speak. Ranuka, you're first, or would you like to give the floor to Bill? He's also very much.
Yes, yeah, I think Bill's comment could be important, but again, I am on the same, I want to respond to the same point, saying that, and I think I mentioned this before once to Lloyd also, like we want to make a marketplace for projects, but with a condition of the investors. You know, generally in this mainstream, we have conditions for the project proposer that, okay, your project should be this. But we know our projects are going to benefit the ground level. We want to make a marketplace with some conditions for the investors, that whoever invests must be, first of all, from the local place. If we cannot find the local place investor, like having a capacity of investing 100%, then he can bring someone else, but then also the highest share remains with the local person. So that is what we need to make now condition for the investors. We will look at their ESG reports and see whether they are able or capable of investing, and they are not coming only for their private, profitable market and so on. So if we make a list of that condition and then invite investors to invest in our project, then I think we will be well off with having an impact better than what we normally would have. Thank you.
Look, what we're doing now is, I feel that what is actually being demanded is actually more of the SIFA plan. And the SIFA plan would connect all people to be helped as close as much locally as possible by people locally, but if they can't be helped by that, bringing in people from farther away, the help would be self-financing it. It would not be made from money from outside. It would be made from money that is created by the market as a whole. So that takes away the problem that you brought up before, Ranuka. So yes, Bill, would you like to speak?
Yeah, because I want to speak, because unfortunately I have to leave now. But I wanted to at least get across. I've heard here, well, we have to help the needy, and the analysis. We spent years in my Rotary Club analyzing this. We look and say, okay, Rotary is the largest association of business and civic leaders in the world. Therefore, we must be one of the largest collection of people with strategic skills and experiences. So we need to apply those and think strategically. So we look at the world and say, why are we in trouble? Why are we not making progress, making more progress? And one of the biggest reasons is the idea that we have to help people. We have to help the needy people. What we're ending up with is we're like the people that say, you know what, let's go and invest. Instead of trying to help bail the ship to keep it afloat, let's go and help the people who are in the sick bay, who are feeling bad. Let's try to help and alleviate their pain. But in the meantime, the whole ship's going to sink. So we have to really start to look at the world. And what we're trying to do here is say we have to identify the most important things. All those projects, Dr. Inoka, that you're evaluating, all those projects you're evaluating, they need to be evaluated on, do they have the potential to change the world? I said in a meeting at the UN, and where a very influential person was, the call from the DS was, let's really support the grassroots. This happened to do with the Lake Chad Basin in Africa, Central Africa, which is in big trouble. But it called for grassroots efforts. And this gentleman got up and said, he's a historian and he's done his studies, and there's no examples in history where grassroots has ever brought about significant global change. Every single major advancement in the world has been top down, has been dictated by a small group at the top. Now, I'm not advocating that we need to go out and find the dictators that are going to change the world, but we need to have the mindset that we got to look and see what is needed in the world, and make sure that we look at the projects and not just say, will they accomplish their goal? We have to say, are they going to lead or bring us closer to what we need in the world? There's that organization that evaluates fundraising, charitable organizations. and says, are they are they good places to invest? Are they spending too much money on fundraising or on their officers? But what we need to do is say the projects that we're looking at, are these likely to bring about the changes, the global changes that we need in the world? And this group here, instead of just jumping here and saying, here's a solution, I'm challenging this group to say, let's start a series of meetings where we define what are the major issues facing the world? What are the things that could be done to change, to bring about the change that we need in the world? And then try to encourage people, go figure out projects that are going to support making that change. Because we see the millions of projects are not making the change.
I'm going to interrupt you now.
Yeah.
I think that what we've come to now is all the different projects, and there has not been an idea of how to bring about the shift. We do have the means to bring about that shift, and the SIFA plan is one way to do it. So it is now we've reached the 5 minutes overtime. I want to go to Joan. And Joan, I'd like to ask you, you have been talking about the need to implement a project. You are familiar with the SIFA plan. You've heard what sort of information has been coming our way. And I would like to ask you what you see as the next step. Joan, are you there?
Well, yes, can you hear me?
Yes, so we want
great.
Now, the action that comes out of what we've heard today to make the shift, which Bill is talking about.
Well, I have to say, first of all, congratulations for all the projects.
Amazing.
So very inspiring. But I do agree. I like plans and processes, first of all. So I'm going to be upfront about that. Having a framework around things so everyone knows exactly where they stand, where we are. And I agree with Bill. I have to say that having a series of meetings to look at the projects and look at the they're called wicked problems of the world, water issues, health issues, equity issues, those kinds of things, and identify the needs that we're addressing and how we're addressing them. I think that a series of maybe 3 to 4 meetings to identify those and come up with how we can address them, and look at the projects and which one addresses them, and or look at how collaboration can happen, and then go from there. That's my input.
Okay, so you're suggesting 3 or 4 projects now, to 3 or 4 meetings, and
Yes.
okay, I do see there are
if we're making a shift, we have to be clear about that shift so that people can be inspired. And so I would say that our next 4 meetings, that we call it Shift Happens, and and then go from there. I like to play on words, by the way, in case anybody doesn't know.
Could we use, now I'm coming back again to the SIFA plan, can we use the SIFA plan as a structure that can make the change in which each of these projects can come into their own, and then see how we might implement that? Would that be
For sure? Yeah. So what I would suggest in over those meetings, that we look at the components of the SIFA plan and put them in a table, what it addresses, and then identify that. I mean, Stephanie is on the line. She's worked with me for a project. She knows how I work. I always like all of these definitions. So
okay, so we study the SIFA plan and then see how all of the projects can benefit from that.
And even the components, like, remember, we're approaching this in stages. Maybe we don't even have to do that after the 4 or 5 meetings, once we've identified them, so people can clearly see how it works. And then we say, okay, this project is addressing this need. Here is how it can work. This project, these 2 people can work together. Here's what we do. And we create that framework, and everyone gets included. No, this is not about not inclusion. This is about inclusion. And
so we have everyone. A lot of different projects. We have a global marketplace, which is self-financing, which produces money to enable people to exchange goods and services. And so the question that we want to ask is, is what then? So people study the global market self-financing marketplace, and then what do we do from there, Joan?
So after I don't want to dictate what we do, but because it will be a conversation over the 4 meetings or 3 or 4, if we all agree to those. I just want to stress that I believe that if you have a defined campaign, people will respond. When they are not sure what is the intent, what is the goal, and what's the perceived benefit. And I like to talk about inputs, outputs, and impacts. Then they're like, okay, well, I can do that on my own. So what you want them to do is to do it on their own, make a difference in their community, and join the global community.
Okay, so then I see that what we would do, and it's now the end of the meeting, but I will sort of allow people to continue and afterwards, of course. But what we're suggesting is that the next meeting, can we put a week from today as the next meeting?
Sure.
Would that work for everybody?
When, please?
Everybody, next meeting is a week from today. Is there a problem with that? Anyone?
Works with me.
It's okay.
Yes.
Right, and so what we will do is I will put out the SIFA plan. We have a 5-pager and a website where you can study it and then see how your individual project would benefit from a structure like that. And then we'll look at what steps we need to take to have this shift-making structure and what the impact would be in each of your projects on creating the shift. Okay, that would be then what we will do for the next meeting. Is there anyone, is there just general agreement with that? Is there any way in which we can put up hand? Bill, are you there?
Charles has his hand up,
Yes, right. I see that. But
Lisinka, when did you opt for the meeting next week?
So what we would do is have a next meeting in a week's time at the same time. We would all study the SIFA plan as being an instrument to bring about shift and empower each of the initiatives, and then look from there what the next step should be in order to bring that about.
Yeah. I really think that innate in our message is that we have to give, even though it's going to be a framework and it's about defining the goals and objectives, we have to let people know that we care about them. That if we don't care for each other, none of this matters.
Joan, that's absolutely the central of it, and I'm reminded very much of Lloyd's about things have to be fun as well. Okay, so Charles, would you like to be the last? Let's see, is that the last person we have here? Charles, I think you are the last person who had your hand up. Charles.
Yes, hello.
Yes.
Hello.
Yes, Charles, lovely. Welcome.
Yeah, thank you. I think I was given the opportunity by my boss to join the meeting. The last 2 meetings, that was giving me an idea about the SIFA plan. This is the first time I've heard of the SIFA plan. I've read about it, and then I have a background in IT, and then also with the NGO, we are also working on helping the women who are vulnerable and they are into farming. And we want to create a sustainable system for them so that whatever they are going to implement from now, it's going to help them take care of themselves till their children also take over from there. Now, the issue is that from my IT background, when I read a little bit about the SIFA plan, they are talking about a digital marketplace. And I suggest maybe something like we have the blockchain. I think I listened to Yvonne the last time you was talking about the blockchain, where the blockchain, we have gone to, the system is now into crypto, where we have a digital system where each person can trade with each coin or each crypto within the SIFA. I will term it SIFA coin, where each person can be trading, and we just have to know how best to bring in the grassroots into this. So the grassroots who is into farming, okay, gets his goods ready. This SIFA coin can be exchanged for cash. So when the goods are sold, the person can then, these members in the SIFA coin can buy the goods using the SIFA coin, and then you have a SIFA coin at hand, which can also be turned into cash, or you can still use it to buy SIFA coin. And at the same time, whilst mining is going on, depending on exchange rates and other things, your money you have in SIFA coin could also increase or decrease depending on the market space. So after I have listened to all these things, this is where I came out with that, okay, we could have a SIFA coin, and then all these things will be, how is this going to be implemented? Maybe we get a consultant who will take care of all the blockchain works and all those things and make sure that the SIFA coin is implemented, and then each member is then part of this SIFA coin. And whilst each member is sending this thing across, sharing it to other members, then people are getting to know what SIFA coin is. The moment you share it, the person also says, oh, this is SIFA coin. It's a new crypto which is coming in. People continue sharing. It gets to the last person. But we, those who handling the grassroots, we know how to bring the grassroots onto the SIFA coin so that they can be beneficial for the grassroots. Okay.
That's
so that's
right.
all I have to say
Going
now.
to have to bring on a lot of people in the grassroots so that the goods and services that are being asked for actually can be provided. I think you've reached a very good point. The one point now I need help. Someone from our group, Bill, Abby, you're there. We need to have a way to communicate with everybody who is here. And we do have a WhatsApp group. Bill, can you help us to get everybody on the WhatsApp group? Can you help us? Billy,
I think Bill said that he was going on a call, sorry.
Okay, is there anyone here who can help everybody here to get onto the WhatsApp group? This is a step we need to take.
I don't have WhatsApp. Hi, Lysinka. Generally, I do this work in the group. I don't have WhatsApp on the laptop here. Otherwise, I would have posted the group. How did we get in touch with everybody? Because on this group, if there's
it was word of mouth. It was word of mouth.
It was word of
Why
mouth.
do we not ask everybody on the call to just leave their WhatsApp number in the chat, and then we'll save the chat at the end? I can perhaps assist, but need to be
sorry.
made admin.
Let me try. Lloyd, let me put the QR code here, and if it is possible, and people can scan that. Let me just try this. Just give me a minute. We are putting them on the SIFA group?
Yes, we'll put them on the SIFA
group. Okay.
Mama.
Just a minute. I just let's see. I don't know if he's on the call, but my good friend Mark Zero from another group was in this call, so it was nice to see it. Geez, I must get around somehow.
So what we do is now
there he is.
everybody to put their name and their phone number there in the chat. Could everybody do that now who wants to continue and be kept in the loop? Is everybody able to do that? I'm not seeing anyone doing it.
There are people posting now.
Yes, they are. Okay.
I typically find that is the easiest way to move forward. Just say
Yeah.
Put your contact information into the chat. We'll save it at the end.
So it's the name and the telephone number and the mobile phone number, right? Is everybody able to do that who's interested in doing that? I see we have some familiar friends here as well. Ernestine, lovely to see you're there.
Abby, do you want my number? You have mine. Do you want it specifically for the group you're going to create? Is that what you're doing?
Joan,
I
wait,
was just trying to create I was trying to create a QR code and post it here so that that QR code is from the group. So everybody can just scan that QR code and join, or a link. So I'm just trying to get that on my laptop. Just give me a bear with me for a
That's
minute.
Or did we want to create a special group for
This
the
is
projects?
this is this is for the SIFA plan group. So this will be just an extension of the SIFA plan group. Any communications will go out to everybody via the SIFA plan group.
Okay.
Abby, is that what you were doing?
Yes, just give me a minute. I mean, a little more than a minute. It's happening. I'm just
This
going to
is
do that.
I'm really grateful. This is just such a wonderful thing to have all of your talents and collaboration here as a team.
Lysenko, I want to say congratulations for bringing this whole thing together. Like, you know, we sometimes forget to thank you for all the work you've done.
Oh, Joan.
And don't Joan me, just say it's okay. I'm just saying you deserve it.
I just want to thank you for thanking me and say how valuable that is. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Of course, you know, when you're doing the work I'm doing, you're realizing that all the work comes from the group, and all you're doing is helping the canals to.
It's a huge thing, trust me, because I do a lot of that, and people sometimes don't understand. It's a lot of work.
It is.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work, but the more work it is, the more it is a evidence of the amazing goodwill and talents and desire to help from other people. And that's a really joy to be able to witness that.
And the other thing too, I want to say how global this group is. It's fantastic.
It is amazing, isn't it?
I love it.
It's really wonderful. And thank you, Lloyd, because you've done a huge amount of outreach for this. And thank you so much for bringing in so many of your colleagues.
Actually, I have to thank Lisa Nice in California. She's the one that's been bringing in most of the people into our network. Like she mentioned, in the past 2 years, she's been doing face-to-face interviews, probably at least 6 a day, every day, including weekends. Just having a face-to-face call with every single one of them to ensure that they're understanding what we're trying to do in terms of what we call this globalization program that we're trying to deliver, and to let them know that no, we're not here to fund your projects. We're not here as an organization that's here to like a foundation or something, right? Which is what many of these folks are looking at and wanting to fund their own projects, and that's what you're hearing a lot. But where our job is basically to assist them in establishing the local partnerships that will allow them to become investment ready. And that's the essence of what our network does. And what our group does is to create the local multi-stakeholder partnerships with the Rotary clubs, with all of these organizations across all of these sectors, so they can come together in agreement to actually create a foundational, grassroots partnership that will allow an investor to come into their community, whether that investor is from within their own watersheds, within their own bioregion, within their own communities, or from outside, and be able to say, yes, we have a conversation with them. They know what projects need to be done, but to create that foundational operation or the partnership that allows that investment to happen.
That's great. And so now what you're saying is that this partnership, which is really growing, and I can see by all your posts, you know, how much outreach you're doing, but that now these goods and services that each is providing to bring about a shift need to be financed. And we're looking at possibly financing it through the SIFA plan.
Well, we had started out with a discussion with Mark Prasangi, who said, well, I would like to demonstrate this regenerative financing scheme. It wasn't the SIFA plan, it was another one. But the idea was we need to create grassroots structures that are investable. So we can demonstrate this REFI, as it's called, the short form, the regenerative financing system. So he said, basically what we need are the partnerships, but they need to happen at the grassroots level everywhere, wherever these projects might want to happen, wherever you need to invest into these communities, we need those partnerships. So this is basically what we did from the beginning, is how do we create the partnerships? Well, what we do is we have a ceremony, plant the tree of peace and reconciliation, create the youth peace garden or youth peace forest, bring all those partners together at that ceremony, invite them all out to come to that ceremony, to plant the tree of peace and reconciliation, to create the youth peace garden. And as a follow-up to that, let's have a discussion about creating a local partnership with a local entity that's also global, something like Rotary, something like Lions or YMCA or some other organization that has a global footprint but works locally.
Abby, I don't know how you would do this, but Artie should be on that list as well, because we were going to work together on the pilot.
I'll add them. I'll add everybody else to the group. I've shared the link in the chat. Everybody can join that. I'll just leave this. I had to do it on my phone. Sorry. So, everybody who's present in this meeting today, a lot of you are meeting. I'm meeting for the first time. Everybody, I think we are meeting for the first time. So, and because I'm not admin of the SIFA group, so that's why I was finding it difficult to find the link and the QR code. So I've created a new group, which is named SIFA Projects. The link is here to that WhatsApp group. Everybody can join from here. And Lysinka, Joan, Lloyd, I've added you already. And the rest, everybody, Bill and everyone, I'll add myself. So rest, Stephanie also, I've got your number, so I'll add you. Rest, everybody can use the link here from the chat and join. It automatically will take you to that group. Okay. And then we'll continue conversations on that.
The other thing I wanted to note again, anybody that is not yet familiar with Zoom, of course, you can also save the chat as a text file by those three little dots that you click and then press Save Chat. For those who want to have everything that was written in the chat saved to their system. I do that every time and have a common database for all of these files.
When it goes down to your download?
Yeah, I have a laptop, so it is going to one of the folders that just opens up at the end of the call when the call is finished. The folder just opens up on my desktop with a single file in it, a text file that I can open up and copy paste whatever I need from it.
Zinka, I'll need to leave.
Yes,
I have a bit of work.
Yeah, it is about 2 o'clock now, so that's
in which we can combine the SIFA projects group with the SIFA plan group afterwards, after the meeting.
You can in WhatsApp, you can create groups of groups. So you can.
I'll add it in the community. I'll put it in the SIFA community.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you'll make a SIFA, Abby, you'll make a SIFA community.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I want to thank everyone. We're half an hour later than we'd intended. Thank you so much for staying. Thank you so much for your input. And those of you that are taking charge now, the organizational charge, I can't tell you how grateful I am. Abby, so I'll be getting guidance from you on how to progress with making contact with everybody in the SIFA groups, the two of them. And that'll be great. Is it ready to end the meeting now? Can we end the meeting?
I believe so. It is 2 o'clock.
All right, everyone. Thank you so much. And we have to meet each other exactly in a week's time, same link and same time, exactly in a week. Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye bye.